Watch your hands, arms, feet, legs on the right. Doors are sliding shut. Sounds like a holiday. And 20 back, please. Let's go. Now, my friends, my name is Sky, and I'll be your guide on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. If you look above your heads, there is an animal starting right. I'm probably not going to see all those animals, but we have some pretty good luck. Just please remember to stay seated at all times. That includes any little ones. Please don't hold anyone up or pass them around. Keep your hands, arms, feet, legs inside of the vehicle at all times. We brush up against some thorny brush. And these are going to be real wild animals. They are going to be moving around. You may want to have your cameras out and ready. Hold on tight. I recommend a sport or an action mode if you have it. And as soon as the warden gives us the final all clear, we'll start up our adventure in the Little Ituri Forest, home to some of Africa's most shy types of creatures. They're usually very good at hiding, and their markings will help them to blend in. So be on the lookout. So if we have that all clear, so what's in it? All the way to the right, on top of the hill, there is an okapi. White stripes on its legs that kind of look like zebra stripes. They're actually the only known relative to the giraffe. They have a very similar skeletal structure without the long neck and long legs, of course. And they were believed to be mythical creatures until 1901. Some people thought they were too good to be true, but they are true. I think they're pretty great. On the left, there is some tan antelope called greater kudu. They can leap up 8 feet in the air and jump over obstacles. Helpful if they need to get away from a predator. And there are some reddish antelope behind this bamboo on this hill. A little bit more hidden, those are the bongos, distant relative to the greater kudu. They have a beautiful coloring. There's a greasy substance on their coat that can mark leaves as they're passing through the forest, potentially making it easier for them to come back and find each other. We'll head over to those watering holes, see if anything is gathered around it to get a drink of water. There is actually a black rhinoceros up ahead there to the left. And also first here on the right in this nest, there's some saddle-billed storks. They stand about 5 feet tall, have a 9-foot wingspan, and they make for litter. The black rhinoceros is on the left. They weigh around 3,000 pounds, which is a little bit smaller for an African rhino, and a group is a crash. Although black rhinos tend to be a little bit more solitary, we don't really find them in their crashes very often. Unfortunately, they are poached for their horns made out of keratin, which is hair and fingernails. People believe that it has medicinal purposes, but it is really just hair and fingernails. So awareness is a big part of rhino conservation, and the rhinos on this reserve help us to spread that awareness. Next up, we are going to start to make our way down to the Safi River, to some of Africa's more aquatic animals. We should probably look for them in the water. There are some big whitish gray birds on the land. Those are pink-backed pelicans. They get a pink coloring on their backs during mating season to help them attract the mates. And I see now a couple now hippopotamus in the water up ahead to the right. Spend most of their time in the water. Don't really swim too much. They're pretty dense, so instead they sink to the bottom, tiptoe along the bottom of the water.
I see their eyes.
They still are pretty good swimmers. there's even more on this left-hand side.
Right. He put his face underwater as soon as we got here.
Hippos are one of Africa's most dangerous animals. They don't actually eat any meat, though. They are herbivores, they plants, but are very territorial. Some can even outrun us on land at up to around 30 miles per hour, which is very impressive. For an animal that comes to weigh around 5,500 pounds.
Almost looks like he's napping.
We are going across this bridge very carefully in a moment. Looks like there's no crocodiles in it. Look very still. You won't really see them moving around a whole lot. Crocodiles spend a lot of time conserving energy in between their meals, but they have quick reflexes and a bite foresight and crush bones. Sometimes they actually have to be very gentle with their jaws, like when they hold their eggs to hatch by rolling them in between their teeth. Let's make our way towards the Savannah. That's where we will be spending the most of our time. It's known to have vast open grasslands and it's a really great place to find some more animals. We are definitely getting close. Just around this bend of the right, there's going to be a baobab tree. It'll be the one that looks like it's been planted upside down. Some people like to call it the upside down tree. It's also known as the tree of life, with the ability to hold thousands of gallons of rainwater in its trunk to survive through the dry season. Anything with horns or tusks can very easily break it open, drain the water out, and potato chip. From this overlook, but we're going to get a lot better view once we head to the bottom. Just got a glimpse of a giraffe not too far away from us. Should have a whole tower here. There's a group of giraffes, which makes sense. They tower over everything at around 20 feet tall. Giraffes are born at about 6 feet tall after a 15-month pregnancy. There's some Ankole cattle not too far away from us as well. Type of cattle with large horns on their heads that can measure around 6 to 8 feet long, with blood vessels on the inside to help circulate more blood throughout their bodies, keep them cool. Basically, they have their own personal AC unit attached to their heads.
Okay, that's pretty big horn.
We should continue to catch up to more giraffes, especially that one off to the right in a little bit. Most of them are going to be hanging out by their food sources. They pretty much eat all day. 20 hours out of a giraffe's day is usually spent eating, while they really only need to sleep for about 30 minutes. Little power naps that can last a few seconds to a few minutes, standing up with their eyes wide open, tricking predators into thinking they are awake and alert. Sometimes they even continue to chew their food. Don't always stop eating. There's some African painted dogs relaxing behind the den to the left. They kind of blend into the ground, but there's a whole pack of them. They're beautiful markings that are as unique to them as our fingerprints are to us. They are not like your pups at home. They are the most successful hunters on the savannah. Hunt in packs and chase their prey to the point that it drops at exhaustion. Dangerous but cute. There's some zebras to our left, a dazzle, which is a group of them because their stripes help them to blend into each other. It confuses predators, in other words, dazzles them. Behind them are the sable antelope, very territorial, more fight than flight, with spear-like horns that point backwards to fend off attacking predators that may try to jump on their backs. And these silverish animals are the wildebeest. They can migrate into herds of up to 1.5 million of them and run around 50 miles per hour, so they avoid running into each other if they have to run away from something by lining up in rows, grouping up, facing different directions. These are termite mounds at the side of the road, made up of animal dung, dirt, and termite saliva. They can just harness concrete in the sun, so animals like the giraffes like to use them as a scratching post, and antelopes stand on top of them to use them as a lookout. Camp for predators. This is an eland on our left. One of the largest of the antelope in Africa. They can stand around 6 feet tall at the shoulder, weigh around 2,000 pounds, and attract a mate by wrapping their horns in leaves, like they're creating crowns on their heads, made out of leaves. Over here, I can see some wildebeest at the top of this hill there. There might be some animals hiding out. Some of them like to still hang out in the bushes, trees, tall grasses. Not all the animals on the savannah like to hang out on the open, so definitely keep an eye out. There's an African elephant to the right. Largest land mammal, they can weigh to around 14,000 pounds. Elephants are born at around 300 pounds and they're age 22 months pregnant. This is a male by himself. He prefers it that way. They are a matriarchal society, so females are in charge. They kick the males out once they reach maturity around 13 to 15 years old. Some migrate alone and some create their own herds called bachelor herds. To the left there are some mandrills, largest of the monkeys. Males get around 100 pounds and have a bright red and blue coloring on their face and red, just like feet. Well, let's keep on going a little further into elephant country, see if we can find a herd. We'll head towards the red clay pits. Elephants love to eat red clay. It's really good for them. It's kind of like taking a vitamin. Although, unfortunately, red clay pits are also often a site of coltan mining, which can cause some problems like habitat destruction, limited food source, more poaching. It's actually very easy to help out with those issues if you are interested. All you have to do is recycle any of your old and used broken electronics or appliances. They contain that coltan. You might be able to find some recycle bins in places like your local grocery stores or electronic stores. Or you can check out Grace Gorillas. They are working to help gorillas in the Congo and cover the cost of shipping if you're recycling them. Pretty big names too. We actually named one of the gorillas Grace on Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. There's some crossbars and bumpers in there. our own. My favorite is the Elephants and Bees project. Basically, elephants don't like bees. They can hear the buzzing over a mile away and stay away from it. So we've been helping to build beehive fences around crops for farmers in Kenya to keep elephants from eating and destroying crops. Then farmers won't have to resort to poaching them. It's also good for the bees, and farmers can sell the honey as an extra crop. So again, if you'd like to learn a little bit more, that is the Elephants and Bees project. There's a baby elephant to the left. She's so cute. There's a flamboyance and greater flamingos around this bend. These ones are going to be a very light shade of pink, and it can take up to 2 years for them to get their coloring for big carotene, found in the bright shrimp that they eat. There are a few different theories to why a flamingo might stand on one leg. It's mostly believed to help regulate body temperature, kind of like sticking one leg outside of the covers at night to cool yourself off. A flamingo might just put one leg up. Looks like something may have been rolling in the mud bed. Some animals like cave mud as a sunscreen. Bugger pollen can also be very good for your skin. There are some white rhinoceros to the right. These ones get up to around 5,000 pounds and are very social. They love to hang out in their crotches. Unfortunately, they are poached for their horns. Just like I said earlier, made out of keratin, so it's very important to spread awareness of the dangers of poaching. We've also been able to have a pretty incredible breeding program here. With 13 born on the reserve, we've been able to relocate 2 of them to Uganda. They're helping to repopulate an area that had been extinct for around 30 years. They're doing a great job too. They've had some babies of their own. Very successful. Here to the left, there's some cheetahs on top of the hill. Fastest land mammals. They have a top speed of up to about 70 miles per hour, which they can get to in just about 3 seconds. Cheetahs really only run for about 30 seconds at a time before they start to slow down. Not long distance runners. They are most active during the day. They hunt during the day to avoid the competition that they would have if they were to hunt at night, especially alongside big cats. These large rocks are copies, tallest plant on the Savannah. Some animals like to use them as a vantage point to look over the Savannah. To the right. Also some really cute shaggy brown antelope called waterbuck. Like to hide out in the water to protect themselves. They secrete a grease from their coat believed to make them waterproof. It smells pretty bad too. It could help to ward off predators. We're not quite sure what the main purpose of it is. waterbuck on the right, and there's also some ostriches on the left. Largest of the birds, flightless, they run around 40 miles per hour. They use their wings to help them keep their balance and quickly change directions while they run. I think these waterbuck are really cute. They have heart-shaped noses. More well known for the white wings around their rear ends that help them to identify each other. There's some ostrich eggs on the ground to the right. Largest of the bird eggs, they get around 3 pounds each. One is the equivalent to 2 dozen chicken eggs, and they're very tough. Probably wouldn't crack if you were to stand on one. I don't think the ostriches would like that very much. Let's head into the final area of the reserve. This is mostly going to be farmland. We'll see if we can find some farm animals before we head back to our warden's post. There are some Nigerian dwarf goats up ahead. Very tiny type of goat. They are known to take up very little space, and they produce milk that is nutritious and high in value. It helps communities to rely less on their local wildlife for things like nutrition and income. The little box in the yellow post in front of the building is a beehive fence from the Elephants and Bees Project. Great project working to help farmers and elephants learn how to live in harmony. Walk back to Africa. If you forget something, please gather up all of your trash. Don't leave anything on the trucks. If any of you are wilderness explorers, you happen aboard the Simba 1. That is SIM VA1 Simba 1. Badges can be collected further down the path as you exit. And if you want to help out these amazing creatures, I definitely recommend checking out the Disney Conservation Fund. You can learn more about the cool projects that we work on. You can donate to it if you'd like. Any amount Disney matches every cent, and we'll give you a really cool thing for it. You can also just reduce, reuse, recycle. Those are great ways to help. And if you learn any cool facts about animals or conservation, share one with a friend. Awareness is always the first step, so just by talking about the animals, you can help them out. Once again, my name is Sky. I've had a lot of fun up there. I'm giving it to, and I hope you'll join us here again soon. No 2 safaris are ever the same. The animals, definitely make sure of that. Check out some of our walking trails to see some more animals like Little Falls Exploration Trail. Kind of on your way out, there are some animals like gorillas, meerkat, zebras, and mole rats. Back in Asia is the Maharaja Jungle Trek. If you'd like to look for some animals like Sumatran tigers, Komodo dragons, and fruit bats. And here in Harambe we say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, enjoy the rest of your day out there in the wild. Don't make a big difference out there, friends. Kwaherini.